Dr. Zamath had seen many species in her 40 years as the Galactic Medical Consortium's chief physician, but nothing quite prepared her for the human sitting calmly in her examination room with a metal rod protruding from his shoulder. "Mr. Chen," she said, her translucent wings fluttering nervously, "you understand that object has penetrated your deltoid muscle, yes?" Marcus Chen glanced at the rod, a piece of debris from the cargo bay accident, and shrugged with his good shoulder. "Yeah, Doc. Hurts like hell, but I've had worse." Zamath's three eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep confusion among her people. Worse. This injury would incapacitate most species for weeks. Some would die from shock alone. "Well," Marcus said with a slight grin, "I'm not most species." The medical bay's doors hissed open and Commander Thrace entered, a towering Vorian whose crystalline exoskeleton glinted under the lights. He was the station's security chief and had personally witnessed the accident. "The human's still conscious?" Thrace asked, genuine surprise in his voice. "Not just conscious," Zamath replied, her voice tight with disbelief. "He walked here. 300 meters, with that embedded in his tissue." Thrace's faceted eyes fixed on Marcus. "Impossible. The Vorian who caused the accident is in critical care, sedated. The pain alone should have..." "Should have what?" Marcus interrupted. "Look, I appreciate the concern, but can we just pull this thing out? I've got a shift in 4 hours. Zamath's wings went completely still, the equivalent of a jaw dropping. "You cannot possibly intend to return to work today." "Why not?" Marcus asked genuinely. "Once it's out and patched up, I'll be fine." What followed was a medical procedure that would become legend throughout the station. Zamath had treated thousands of patients, but she'd never seen anything like this. She'd administered what should have been sufficient pain medication for a being of Marcus's size. The human had politely refused more. "I don't like being too fuzzy-headed, Doc. Just do what you need to do." The extraction took 17 minutes. Zamath monitored Marcus's vital signs throughout, watching in amazement as his heart rate elevated only moderately, his breathing remained steady, and most incredibly, he maintained conversation. "So, Doc," Marcus said as she carefully removed the rod, "you been on this station long?" Zamath's hands trembled slightly. "Mr. Chen, I am currently removing a foreign object from your shoulder muscle. Perhaps silence would be..." "Nah, talking helps." "Distraction, you know." He winced slightly. "My mom used to say I inherited my grandmother's pain tolerance. She once set her own broken leg on a hiking-in trip and walked 5 miles back to the car. That is medically inadvisable," Zamath managed. "Yeah, well, Chen family stubborn streak and all that." He paused as she hit a particularly sensitive spot. "Okay, that one stung a bit." Commander Thrace, who had stayed to observe, leaned closer. "Human, your pain receptors are functioning normally. Our scans confirm it. How are you not screaming?" Marcus considered this. "Honestly, I am feeling it. Burns like someone's holding a hot poker in there. But screaming won't make it hurt less, and it'd probably freak out the doc. So what's the point?" This statement caused a ripple of shock through both aliens. Zamath had paused mid-procedure, staring at her patient with newfound understanding and horror. "You are experiencing full pain," she said slowly, but choosing not to express it. "That level of self-control is disturbing." "Is it?" Marcus asked. "I mean, pain's just information, right? It tells me something's wrong. I already know that. Got a metal rod in my shoulder. No need to announce it to the whole station." The extraction completed, Zamath began the delicate work of repairing the damaged tissue. She'd expected the human to at least show signs of fatigue, but Marcus remained alert, occasionally asking questions about the station's gossip or commenting on the Vorian medical technology. "Fascinating," he said, watching her work in the reflection of a medical instrument. "You guys use synthetic threading. We just started experimenting with that on Earth." "Mr. Chen," Zamath said, her voice strained, "you should not be this coherent. Should I pretend to pass out? Would that make you feel better?" Commander Thrace's crystalline form actually vibrated laughter in Vorian. "The human makes jokes while being sewn back together. This is either bravery or insanity. Little bit of both, probably," Marcus admitted. The procedure completed, Zamath stepped back, her wings fluttering in what Marcus had learned was agitation. "I need to understand this. Your species' pain tolerance, it cannot be natural evolution. What kind of death world creates beings that simply ignore traumatic injury?" Marcus sat up slowly, testing his newly repaired shoulder. "Earth's not that bad. I mean, sure, we've got hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, diseases, predators that can kill you 100 different ways, extreme temperatures, and basically an ecosystem that's been trying to murder us for millions of years, but you know." "Builds character." The medical bay fell silent. That was a joke, Marcus added, mossly. Thrace moved closer, his massive form casting shadows across the room. Whom and Marcus I have fought in 17 campaigns across 9 worlds. I have seen warriors of a dozen species face death with honor. But I have never seen someone treat severe injury with such casualness. Marcus shrugged again, then winced slightly. Okay, probably shouldn't shrug for a few days. Look, Commander, humans don't have armor like the Vorians or regeneration like the Zenthi. We're pretty squishy, actually. But evolution gave us something else. We're really good at pushing through pain. Why? Zamoth asked, genuinely curious now. What evolutionary advantage does pain tolerance provide? Survival, Marcus said simply. Our ancestors didn't have the luxury of stopping every time something hurt. Broken bone. Keep running, the predator doesn't care. Infection. Keep moving, food won't hunt itself. Exposure. Deal with it. Shelter isn't going to build itself. The humans who couldn't push through pain didn't make it long enough to have kids. He stood up, testing his shoulder with careful movements. Plus, we discovered something interesting. Pain is partly mental. Your brain decides how much to freak out about it. Train your brain to stay calm, and you can function through stuff that would drop other species. Zamoth pulled up Marcus's medical file, something she should have done earlier. What she saw made her wings flutter in distress. Mr. Chen, your records show 3 previous major injuries in the last 2 years. A plasma burn, a broken femur, and a concussion from decompression. Yeah, working in space is dangerous, Marcus said. But someone's got to do it. And after each injury, you return to full duty within days. That should be impossible. Doc, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means when it comes to humans. Marcus headed toward the door, then paused. Oh, and thanks. Really appreciate you not asking too many questions while you worked. Some doctors talk way too much during procedures. After he left, Zamoth and Commander Thrace stood in silence for a long moment. I need to file a report, Thrace said finally. Command needs to understand what humans are capable of, Dao. What will you tell them? Zamoth asked. The truth. That we have a species on this station that experiences full pain, possesses no natural armor or weapons, can be severely injured by common accidents, and somehow they just walk it off and go back to work. He paused. My people pride themselves on resilience, Doctor. We are the Vorians, we do not break. But that human, he breaks constantly. And he just puts himself back together and continues like nothing happened. Zamoth was updating her medical protocols, adding new notes to the human species file. I'm flagging all human patients as requiring special psychological evaluation. This level of pain tolerance isn't normal. It's almost pathological, or, Thrace suggested. It's what happens when a species spends millions of years on a planet actively trying to kill them. They become unkillable through sheer stubbornness. 4 hours later, true to his word, Marcus Chen reported for his shift. His supervisor tried to send him to quarters, but Marcus insisted he was fine. He was assigned light duty, monitoring systems from a console. By week's end, the story had spread throughout the station. The human who walked 300 meters with a metal rod in his shoulder calmly chatted during its removal and returned to work the same day. Other species began viewing humans with a mixture of respect and fear. Zamoth found herself dealing with more humans in medical, and each one reinforced the pattern. They experienced pain, sensors didn't lie, but they simply managed it, compartmentalized it, functioned through it. One elderly human woman came in with a fractured wrist. Oh, this, she'd said. I've had worse. My 3rd childbirth, the epidural didn't work. Now that was pain. This is just annoying. A young human engineer arrived with severe burns. Rated a 6 out of 10, Doc. Not great, not terrible. A human security officer walked in with a concussion. I've had 4 of these. You kind of get used to knowing what to expect. It painted a picture of a species that shouldn't exist, fragile enough to be injured by nearly anything, but mentally tough enough to simply refuse to let injury stop them. Marcus returned to medical 3 days later for a follow-up. Zamoth examined his shoulder, finding it healing remarkably well. Mr. Chen, she said, I've been studying human psychology since your incident. I think I'm beginning to understand. Yeah, Marcus said. What's the diagnosis, Doc? Your species is collectively insane, she said, not unkindly. But it's an insanity that evolution rewards. You feel everything, all the pain, all the damage, but you've trained yourselves not to care. To push through anyway. Marcus smiled. That's the human condition, Doc. We're aware of every way we can die, every injury we can suffer, every pain we might feel. And we just do stuff anyway, build cities in earthquake zones, sail across oceans, go to space. Because if we let fear of pain stop us, we'd never do anything. Terrifying, Jameth said, and impressive. Thanks, Doc. He stood to leave, then turned back. Oh, and for what it's worth, that rod really did hurt like hell. I wasn't lying about that. I just didn't see the point in making it everyone else's problem. As he left, Xamath made one final note in her log. Humans recommend caution. Not because they're dangerous, but because they'll redefine your understanding of what injured means. They'll work through things that would kill most species, and they'll act like it's just another Tuesday. And somewhere in the station, Marcus Chen went about his day, his shoulder still healing, his mind already focused on the next task, because that's what humans did. They survived. They adapted. And they absolutely refused to let pain be anything more than information.